5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
All right, what's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Back with a BTV StableDuel joint effort here. This is what I'll take the credit for naming this, the Emerald Downs Pot of Gold contest. We used to do these things for Penn National, right? And Penn National started at 6. Sometimes that's tough for people to get to. Let's get nuts, right? Like, let's screw around with some Emerald Downs out in Auburn, Washington. A beautiful little track. 9 o'clock Eastern post time, and we got late night action today.
Yep.
And rip it.
If you've listened to some of the Bob Saget stand-up, he talks about leprechauns. Keep in mind that they'll eat your dog and they'll shine your shoes. So that's what those leprechauns will do to take that pot of gold from you. And I'm taking your pot of gold tonight, Blackjack and Leo. So get ready. Yeah, I'm coming in creepy with Bob Saget leprechaun references.
I'm not gonna lie, it is super creepy to lead with Bob Saget.
Yeah, nothing quite like gripping and ripping it late night, huh, guys? Let's get it done, baby.
What are you drinking, Leo?
Coffee out of my Goofy mug.
God, I hate you.
There you go.
What's up, Goofy?
By the way, we got an NBA playoff game going on right here. Leo and I were talking about this off air before. I thought Brooklyn tonight was cooked. I thought if you're Milwaukee, you have to come out and put your foot squarely in their ass.
Yeah.
I mean, right? There's no other way to do this.
Early start, it's like 22-9 or so right now. So it looks like, at the very least, they've got this. If they did not do this and they come out and they were down by 10, they're done. So at least they're giving them somewhat of a punch back here. Because if you tie this series up 2-2, you put Brooklyn in a situation that they haven't been in with this group of players. And then you don't know. Someone like Durant, you keep going at him. Can he hold up? Can his body withstand tough series, having to guard Giannis? So at least give yourself a chance here. We've seen a couple blowouts over the last couple nights. So hopefully we get a good game here.
And listen, Kyrie's due for another personal break. He's due for a vacation anytime now. And, James Harden, we all know, as clutch gets. So,
hey, baby, the Greek freak's taking over, baby. Yanni's already got 13, baby.
All right. Hey, did you ever order that Greek flag I told you to buy?
I got one over there, man.
Not the one that looks like you're in a dorm room, you fucking child.
I like my dorm room, dude. I'm a little frat boy. What do you want from me? I'm adorable.
Let's go to Emerald Downs. Race one here. I actually, I'm going to confirm this, but I think, I took a pass on this race, which has been my tendency in these contests. We have a 9-race card here. This is a $20,000 claiming race, 6 furlongs at Emerald Downs. This was a tricky one to me because these horses were all pretty expensive in the contest. Your favorite right now is the 4 Float On at 8-5 live odds. Leo, what did you do here in the first?
All right, first one. I went with Devil's Workshop here. I actually really like this one. 9 starts. It's got 1 first, 1 second. It's not all that expensive. This is a pretty short field. You got it at about $5,000. So 6-1 right now. It did win its last race. I know that the risk says high on StableDuel's app, but you know what? I was in the mood to dabble a little bit. I'm rolling with the Devil's Workshop here.
I don't blame you terribly for that because of the price here. This is actually your cheapest horse in the race at $5,000. My problem is, first time against winners, right? You've got that's always a concern.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go. We all float on, all right. You know what? A little Modest Mouse. Float on. This will be
the first and last episode of this.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Float on. Multiple winner against single winners here. Float On has speed. Float On has the ability to sit off the pace if need be. And Float On has some recency where, a lot of these races in Emerald Downs too, you're going to be getting horses early on in the meet that have not run in a long time. Modest Mouse fans out there are going to be floating on. And I don't have to spend up all the way. I prefer Float On. A lot of these horses, I'm not quite sure if 6 is really what they want. And so I prefer Float On to Gordon Anthony because it's a little bit cheaper for you.
Yeah, I think you probably have the right one there. Let's keep it going here into the second race. I do have one here. This is this is even lower than Penn. $3,000 claimer, non-winners of 3 lifetimes, 6 furlongs. Irish Swing is where I went here. The 8-5 morning line favorite, $9,400 on this one. This horse has had 2 starts last month, 7 days apart, mind you. At this level, finished close second in both of them. I think that if you're looking at the rest of this field, you can certainly make the case for Smile for Ashley. I get it. After that, I feel like we might be reaching a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Gino, what did you do?
I went Smile for Ashley. I agree. I think this is a spot to spend up. You're just getting a consistent horse. Another instance where you're not talking about a horse off of a long layoff. They've been running really well at Golden Gate in nice form. I think Smile for Ashley is really well spotted in here. So I'm okay with spending up a little bit in this spot.
Yeah. Leo, what did you do in the second?
Completely agree. Smile for Ashley, second in speed, top 3 finishes in her 4 of the last 5. Big fan of that one. I also needed a budget play here, so I ended up rolling with King Charlie. It seems low risk, 4th in speed, 5th in value. Just hoping that King Charlie doesn't get destroyed here. That'd be ideal.
Okay. I mean, you're going at the 15-1 shot. You do realize that this horse lost his last race by 24 lengths, right?
Yep. Well, anything's possible with the heart of a champion, BJ. We already know it.
Anything is possible with the heart of a champion.
That's right, baby. You guys remember 2 red cents? One of the
Oh
OGs?
my God, Leo! It was one time.
It's all I needed. I only picked it once. It came through, baby. 2 red cents. Heart of a champion. That's right.
Leo, give it rest.
Never.
All right.
That will forever be my horse.
The third here. The third race, maiden special. We get $20,000 maiden special. Actually, a decent race here at Emerald Downs. Again, 6 furlongs, what we're doing. This one, you've got a very tepid morning line favorite, which is the first-time starter Bestio here at 2-1. Next, you got American Buddha at 3-1. I went with a little bit of a price here, I guess. I took Rings of Saturn at $6,000 at 5-1, the 2 horse here. This horse was in a $25,000 maiden claimer. Finished second by 2 lengths, is taking a little bit of a step up into the maiden special company. But I think if we get that natural progression from the first start to the second, this horse could be well placed here.
Yeah, I don't think there are any monsters in here. I'm okay with Tap the Bank. I think you can make a legitimate excuse for this horse first time out because of the sloppy racetrack and just sort of treat him like a first time starter that got a little bit of fitness, being able to get a run around the racetrack out there. Nobody really scares me because, like you said, it's a pretty evenly matched group. There are no monsters and it's only a field of 5. So Tap the Bank can finish 3rd in this spot. That's a really good spot for me as far as getting value on my buck at 10-1 on the morning line. Give me Tap the Bank in a race that nobody really scares me, and I can kind of treat this horse like a horse with an excuse first time out, and maybe a horse who can just finish, top 3 or 4 and give me some points and pick them up along the way.
I like it. Leo, what'd you do here?
I ended up going with Harbor Outlaw here. It's only had 1 start, finished in 3rd. It's got 3rd in speed rank. Honestly, short field, just kind of hoping that this one kind of does its thing. I'll take it a 2nd or 3rd out of this one, and I'll be perfectly content. It's a good way to rack up some points.
Yeah, I don't hate Harbor Outlaw. Harbor Outlaw comes out of the same race that Rings of Saturn was in, finished about a length and a half behind Rings of Saturn. So, again, there's room for improvement there, right? I mean, it would stand to reason that these horses could take a step forward and get you some points here. And what's interesting, too, about this track is we're seeing relatively short fields across the board here. So you've got a chance to kind of sneak in and pick some prices here.
Yeah.
We've got a question here from our guy, Chase Sessoms. Okay, this is interesting, and I want to get both of your takes on this because when I first started playing this game, I would go through the card and I would find maybe the 2 or 3 heavy favorites that I wanted that I thought were going to win, and then I would build around that. The problem I found was that the last 2 spots on the stable were just getting filled with trash. Mm-hmm. Then I tried, Chase, to kind of just find horses that I thought were going to hit the board, right? Like not necessarily win if I thought they could, great. But I think the key to this game is no red numbers, right? Like you have to have green numbers in every race.
Yep. That's a key for me. I'm always looking for bad morning line, right? Bad morning line that I think is going to be off right off the bat. If there's a horse that's 8 or 10 to 1, and I know they're going to be 7 to 2 or 3 to 1, like to me, I have to play them. Or and every card's a little different. Like scratched race, small field. Yep. Right now you're in a situation where you're like, oh, there's only 4 horses in this field. Like I better take the free money, the free points that I can get right there. But for me, I guess I kind of go into it like the same way I handicap a normal card at any racetrack. Like I'm going to go right off the bat for maybe my 2 or 3 best bets of the day. I want to make sure that if the horses that I like the most win, because the way I handicap, those horses are never morning line favorites. For me personally, I'm always looking for horses that are in the 5 to 10 to 15 to 1 range anyway. So if I can get my 2 or 3 that I am really high on and I feel like I want to build around, I want to make sure if those horses win, then hell, I put myself in a great spot because now I've got a couple favorites later on in the card. I can play, I can really get an advantage there. So, I couple little small things I look for. Entries, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 for 1.
Entries are always great.
Must use for me. Yeah.
Leo, what about you? What are you doing when you try to put this together?
So when I'm putting my StableDuel lineup together, what I tend to try to do is try to get a bunch of guys that are going to aim for second and third. Relatively cheap ones, kind of like Harbor Outlaw. Fairly cheap. I don't necessarily think they're going to win, but you get me second and third, we're going to get plenty of points. At that point, you go get a cheap one like King Charlie, and then you can go get a real expensive horse that you think is going to win by a bunch of lengths. And then there you go. That's your beautiful lineup.
That's it. And Chase, yes, it is like golf. No snowman. You can't put an 8 up here. It's
no.
You're going to be screwed if you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So in the 4th race here, we've got a maiden claimer, $5,000 race. Your favorite here again, a pretty tepid choice, Bullet Bay. This is the 3rd start out of Bullet Bay at 5 to 2 on the morning line. Ran at this level last time out on June 3rd, finished 5th by 14 lengths. Is shortening up a half a furlong here. I don't know, though, brother. I mean, it's hard to take really anything out of those first 2 starts and say that you like anything about it. You've got another horse in here. He's Bandito, who is 0 for 20 at 6 to 1. I don't know. There's 3 firsters here. This feels like a coin toss of a race.
I'm going with one of the first time starters for one of the reasons that you said, and we're looking at a barn that's got like nothing really out there a whole about, but I'm talking about the 3 appointed star. So what's interesting about this particular horse, you look at the work tab first, and it's pretty good. Like it's pretty solid. Like you got a nice steady string of works from the beginning of April. Looked like a horse that they were trying to get ready last year. And then they had some issues with, and then you come back and all of a sudden you're a year later, but you get like steady through April, all the way through May, and a good work over the track in June. Now, this horse's dam, named Little Cutie, was actually a 4-time winner. She won her debut by 11 lengths, and 3 of her victories came at Emerald Downs, right at this track. She's produced 5 foals to race. 3 of them are multiple winners, and the only 2 that didn't win, they only raced 1 time and 3 times. For a maiden $5,000 claimer, that is not a bad pedigree. No, and that is not a bad work tab. We just don't know a whole lot about this barn. To me, this is a good horse to use in this spot.
I actually went the same way as you in this. Partially, I like Juan Gutierrez as a rider, and I agree with you. When I looked at this, I decided I was going to take one of the firsters. And the work tab for Have No Doubt, is rather for Appointed Star, is a pretty nice work tab here.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to like there. Leo, what did you do here?
Man, I went with He's Bandito. I mean, how could you not love He's Bandito? Never won in 20 races. No problem, no problem. Finished top 3 in his last 3 of his last 5. I'm all over He's Bandito here. Lucky number 7, baby.
Dude, it's not lucky number 7. He's 0 for 20.
It's okay. 1 for 21. All I need you to do is be just under 5%. That's cool, bro. He's gonna take care of business.
I'm sorry, I can't take a horse that's 0 for 20.
He's gonna play.
This horse does not want to. You talk about the heart of a champion. This horse barely has a heart.
Well, you know what? You said the same thing about 2 Red Cents, and what happened?
Leo, this is a 3-legged horse. I mean, he can't win.
All you need is 2 to run, baby.
This isn't like a 747. Like I'm pretty sure you need all 4.
No, man, I'm rolling with Hughes Bandito. I feel pretty good about this one. I feel good about Hughes Bandito.
You're a nut. All right.
Thank you.
5th race. I can't believe you're taking that horse. I really can't.
I love that horse, baby.
All right. So we have 2 scratches in the 5th. The 4 and the 7 are both out here. This is a $15,000 waiver maiden claiming race, 5.5 furlongs. Your favorite on the morning line is the 5-horse Cribs, followed up by Sweet KDO at 7-2. I actually went with a price here. I went with the 1 Lon's Delight, I guess.
Yep.
And that's because this horse is taking a massive, massive drop down. I mean, you're looking at a horse that's been off for a long time. I'll grant you, it hasn't run since January 4th of 2020, but that was at Santa Anita. Okay, it was running 8 furlongs on the turf at Santa Anita in a 55,000 maiden special. Has now come back at Emerald Downs in a 15,000 maiden claimer. I mean, class-wise, you're not going to get much better than this. The works again have not been terrible of late. I just think that at 12-1 and $750 in your stable, it's worth taking a shot at this horse in what is a 5-horse race.
After the scratch of CP's Delight, I was on the 4. Once CP Delight was out, I'm down to the 1 or the 3 based on how much you can spend in your stable. Because I completely agree. The 1's a total wild card shot in the dark. But if you can just sort of break alertly from the rail and get away well, fresh off the bench and get into the race, I think this horse will have a big shot. And then the 3, Sweet KDO, just feels like putting a couple starts together, has shown a little more ability than most in here. Those would be the 2 for me.
I actually like the 6 here. I like Bottleneck. It's the quickest horse in the race. Number 1 speed rank, 4th in value. Yes, it hasn't finished top 3 in its last three races, but I feel pretty good about it, man. Small field, it's going to get me some points here, and it's fairly cheap at $5,000.
I mean, I guess, Leo, my concern is that the horse doesn't have a ton of early speed and doesn't really pass a lot of horses.
It's kind of in between, yeah.
Again, this is a small field. I'm just looking for some points here. I just need something. Give me a second, give me a third. I'll be perfectly content here.
You're going to have to give me more than that, Leonidas. Did you know that's his name, Gino? His name is Leonidas.
Really?
Yeah.
Leonidas.
That's cool. That's cool. People used to always ask me, like, is your name short for something like Gino Vani? It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. But it's just Gino. Yeah, it's just Gino.
Leonidas Koukakis.
Gino, you ever see the movie 300?
Oh, yeah, that's you. That's you.
Yeah, so before that movie came out, I used to get made fun of in school all the time. They're like, "Oh my god, such a dorky name," and like
and
everybody used to make fun. Yeah, the second that movie came out, I was like the king. They're like, "Oh my god, bro, that's your name? That's so cool!" And I'm like, "Yeah." Fun fact: still never seen that movie.
What?
Come on, it's a great movie.
I've never
Go
seen
check it out. Go check it out.
Who has time for movies, bro?
Yeah, I know. You're so busy. You have no time.
That's right.
I guess that's why you don't do your job very well.
My job is
all
done fantastically well, sir.
Let's go to the 6th race. Again, $3,000 claimer, non-winners of 3 lifetime fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. We've got a pretty heavy favorite here. The 1, I Want One, is 9-5 on your morning line. I went elsewhere here. I went with a little bit of a price. I went with Urban Diva, the 2-horse. I'll grant you there hasn't been a lot to like in the last few starts, but they've been at Golden Gate on the synthetic. If you go back to this horse's last win, it was her last race at Emerald Downs in October of 2020 when she was running at a considerably higher level than this. And she got a win by almost 7 lengths. And the race before that, she finished second by a neck. So I don't think she liked the synthetic. I think that maybe you get her back to where she's comfortable, and maybe we see something close to that again.
Of course you took Urban Diva.
Where are you going, Leo?
I'm actually going with Smashing Success here. You get it super small price. You get it for $3,000. It's 8-1 on the morning line. Won two of her last 4 races. Yeah, worth a dabble here.
Actually went smashing success also. You tossed the last race in the slop last time out. You're going to go second start off of a long layoff now. The end of 2020, you won 2 of 3 and showed over this racetrack and showed like tactical speed. Showed enough positional speed to not have to get outrun in here. I think smashing success makes a lot of sense. I do think I Want One is also very logical. Second time at this level here. And this is going to be a really good spot for I Want One. So you're going to have to double up in one spot somewhere. I'll probably end up using 1-4 in here.
Ooh, bold choice. I like it.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at the 7th race. This is a $4,000 claimer back to 6 furlongs here. Your favorite on this one right now on the morning line is the 3 last one standing. You've got a pretty close second choice at Buckley Bay at 3-1. I took a price here. I took Cougar Country, the 4.
I was going to say your favorite country. I knew this was your favorite country.
I took Cougar Country. And again, this is a horse that's been running at Turf Paradise. When the horse was at $4,000 at Turf Paradise, finished second, and had, if you go back and look at that race, had a really bad trip, was very wide, and managed to finish second there. I don't know. I mean, I think that if you're looking for a price here, you could do worse than this one.
I'm on the same horse as you. This is one of the quicker. This is a horse who has some speed, who has gone 6 furlongs in 3 straight races, which I like. A lot of these horses are coming out of some shorter races, and we don't really know if they want to go that far. He's coming out of tougher. This is a 13-time winner overall. The barn's actually done well early on at the meet. They've already had a couple winners so far in just limited runners. So I think there are plenty of positives about Cougar Country, and at 10-1, only going to cost you 10-1 morning line, only going to cost us $1,000 in our salary cap to use. I'm going with the 4 here.
Leo, what'd you do?
I actually sprang a little bit here. I'm actually going to go with Buckley Bay. 27 races, finished first or second in 12 of them. I know that the last 3 races have been fairly poor, but feeling a bounce back here. It's also number 1 in speed rank, number 3 in value, low risk. Sign me up for Buckley Bay here.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? It's just that last race that worries me because you can make excuses for the 2 before that, but the drop down to $3,000 at Turf Paradise and just finishing so poorly as the favorite there, I don't know. It makes me wonder if Buckley Bay's got anything left. But I get it on some level, even though I think you're an idiot.
I'm a damn delight, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what? I like to address that little idiot.
Go ahead. What?
Who's the idiot? I don't understand. Do you remember this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you remember this? You continually question my picks on StableDuel and call me an idiot. Yeah, here I am, Blackjack. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Where are you living right now, buddy?
Not telling you, pal.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next race. What do we got here,
8th
Dino?
race. Starter optional claimer, 15,000, 6.5 furlongs in this one. Your favorite is the 2 Zatter at 9-5. That's where I went here. I spent the money on Zatter. It's expensive, $9,200. But I do like that Zatter returned from, came back to Emerald Downs. And again, I kind of like this angle a little bit. This is a horse too, a significant back class. I mean, right, was running in grade 2 races 2 years ago at Santa Anita. Didn't take well to Turf Paradise in particular, won his first race there and then kind of fell off a little bit. Came back, though, to Emerald Downs in May at the $10,000 level and got himself a pretty nice win there. So I like Zatter in this race.
Former grade 1 placed Zatter was second in the Del Mar Futurity. This horse a while back. I went to the 6 rate for me. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the 6.5 furlongs here. So I do think a horse like Rate for Me, who's cutting back from a mile and has shown a little bit of the route speed going 6.5, has a shot here. You cut back. Does he need a little pace help? Yes. But both the 1 and the 2 might be getting a little tired going 6.5. And that's where Rate for Me might be able to come in. I think if the 2 inside horses and 1 other show some pace, Rate for Me will be picking him up late.
Leo, why did you take Roman Rush?
Oh, that's great. Because I got Roman Rush.
No, you knew it. That's great.
Honestly, I needed something super cheap here, so I was kind of sort of scrambling. And then I had the TV on. Roman Reigns comes on a commercial. I see Roman Rush. There you go. I mean, it was a sign from the heavens, bro.
The big dog.
Sign from the heavens. Roman Rush. I mean, you got
the head of the table.
Yeah, there you go, man. I mean, he's finished first or second in a third of his races. I guess it's possible. Just don't get destroyed, Roman.
I guess it's possible.
I mean,
Leo again with the in-depth analysis of I guess it's possible.
listen, man. Again, I just needed something cheap because I got a real strong horse in the last race. I'm really just hoping that Roman Rush doesn't get destroyed here. That's all you have to do. Just don't completely suck.
Let's go to the ninth now with the $5,000 maiden claimer for fillies and mares. Tell me about this real strong horse.
I'm going with Sleepy Sue, dude. I'm springing for Sleepy Sue. I like being a strong finisher. Remember, that's how I took your belt. I had a real strong finisher in Essential Quality in Kentucky. Sleepy Sue, huge favorite here. Finished third in her first race. I'm feeling a real strong performance here. This is the best horse in this race. I have little to no doubt about it.
I am with you. I took the same horse. I like the little drop. I like the first start. The works are outstanding of late. There's very little not to like about Sleepy Sue. Gino, you're on the same page, obviously.
Sleepy Sue. Only other horse I gave a look to was Aquinas, who comes in from Golden Gate. Got a little bit of money last time out and just was basically eased. Didn't show up at all, but you're expecting more here. But I prefer spending up on Sleepy Sue. I think this is a really good spot. The horse who beat Sleepy Sue just came back to win for 8,000 on 2 next time out. So we know it's already been a productive race, and the fillies who beat her, and she takes a small drop in class 2. Really good spot for the 6.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So that is those are our lineups for this race. I'm looking forward to this card, guys. I like these. I like these late night tracks. I like Emerald Downs. I like playing Century Mile up in Canada. I enjoy it, man. I like getting into the midnight hours.
Yeah, I was a Sam Houston person too. You know, Sam Houston was big on the Friday, Saturday nights too. I love going into that. They don't have it as much out here with the main Southern California circuit. We used to get the Hollywood Park Friday night racing, which was a ton of fun back in the day. You know, we still have Los Sal, but the night product is a blast. And this thing starts soon, and you'll be up really late on the East Coast because this last race doesn't go till 12:30.
Nah, man, I love it. I love it. I'll tell you what else I love. I love that finally we're getting racing back in Ontario this weekend.
Yes. Actually had Robert Geller on That's What She Said. I'm putting it together right now. It'll be out early in the morning. We talked about how everything came together at Woodbine. We previewed a couple races for Saturday.
I'm excited. We're getting Mohawk back tomorrow. We're getting Woodbine Thoroughbreds back Saturday. It's been too damn long. I got worried about that track for a while because you had trainers leaving, horses leaving, and I think there was a legitimate concern for a minute that they wouldn't be able to have a meet. If
they would go and not come back because you're going to go somewhere else. They have to run.
Right.
You know, they got to go. And I believe there's $150 stable duel game on Saturday, a Woodbine stable duel game. So if you're a Woodbine player, that's going to be a big one to focus in on for Saturday.
Yeah, I love me some Woodbine. Leo, I know, are you familiar with Canadian racing?
No, only Canadian whiskey, Blackjack.
That's what I'm drinking, buddy.
Yeah, I know, buddy. I know.
Yeah, we do have a $150 contest on Saturday at Woodbine, a $10,000 pool in that contest. So you're going to want to get involved with Woodbine on Saturday for sure. I'm looking forward to having Mohawk back tomorrow. I really hate harness racing. I don't enjoy it, but I got into watching Woodbine Mohawk every 3 days they'd run during the week. And Gino, the same horses run every 7 days.
Monday night, every Monday, you get familiar with them 3 weeks later. You remember, bad trip last week. I know this.
That's it. You get to know it so well that it was, and the 20-cent increment, you can't say enough about the 20-cent increment up in Canada.
Yeah. Woodbine pick 5s. You can play those for 20 cents. So it's fun. It's a track you end up playing a little more, even if you don't mean to, because you look at your account sometimes and you're like, I got $5. Oh, wait, I can put a 20-cent pick 4 in and feel like I actually have a legitimate shot here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Love me a 20-cent pick 4, guys. My favorite.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
Less than no idea. Can you believe the Bucks are going to blow this right now?
They're going to get punched. The next 5-6 minutes are key because you knew the Nets were going to come punch them back. If Milwaukee gets a little nervous and tight right here, this could be it. But they got to get back up to about 10, and I think they'll be okay.
15-2 in the second quarter.
I'm with you. I think that the Bucks need to, in the next 7.5 minutes, They need to go into halftime up by 10. Like
Yep.
this cannot be a 2-point game at halftime.
No,
This
no.
can't be. If it is, this team's screwed. Like you don't lose. We talked before we started. You don't lose by 40 in a playoff game when you're as talented as this team is, and not come home and just put your foot squarely in their ass.
Yep. That's a horrible losing this game in any way, shape, or form is horrible. Even coming out like this and then getting punched back, like they have to win this game for sort of the future of some of this group of players that they have together, or else you look at them and you go, okay, something's missing.
Well, and Leo and I talked about this, and the biggest problem I see for this team is they don't have a lot of flexibility with this roster. I mean, they are tapped hard.
When DiVincenzo feels like the biggest piece missing from your team because you only have like 7 or 8 deep rotation players that you feel comfortable with, that's a problem. This is something that was a conversation point when they had to give up so much to get Drew Holiday. You lost a lot of assets moving forward that you could have used elsewhere. Can Tucker even guard Durant trying to chase him around, going through screens and stuff? If he can't, he's sort of not as good in your rotation out there. So, I mean, Giannis, the free throw stuff is in his head now.
Oh, God.
The 10-second thing. And then he doesn't even want to drive. Sometimes you can see that he doesn't even want to drive because he's starting to think about it,
Hold on, what?
Hold on. Gino, I need to correct you on something. His name's not Giannis. It's Yanni. It's Yanni.
Okay. We're not going to do this, Leonidas.
Yanni, okay.
I can't listen to him.
Now I'm done.
Listen, the free throw stuff's been a problem for 2 years for him. But I mean, I don't know what real changes you could make to the roster. I mean, I assume if they were to lose this series, Budenholzer's probably out.
Yeah,
he's got to be gone.
Has to be.
But I mean, if you run this back another year and the same thing happens next year, this guy's going to ask for a trade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that he signed a supermax deal. That doesn't seem to matter in the NBA anymore.
Yep.
I mean, he's going to ask out.
He's in an interesting situation. I think the way that they try to use him in the next few games will be, I'm curious because it seems like taking the ball out of his hands is actually a little bit better. Getting him down low, I think, and when you brought in Drew Holiday, that felt like a better thing to do for everyone, like matchup wise. I don't know if he wants to be that guy a little bit. Like, I think he kind of wants to be more of a LeBron than a Shaq. And if he wants that, that's something that maybe even if they try to push him other ways, like Anthony Davis, for example, I love Anthony Davis, but he doesn't want to play the 5 all the time. Even though that in the playoffs and when they play him at the 5, that's the best opportunity for the Lakers. But he doesn't like doing that throughout the year, even though that would be better for them. So some of these players know things that would be better for them, but they still don't want to do it. I'm kind of curious, And
that's a great point too, because you watch this series and, Brook Lopez to me is a frustrating player because the Nets have nothing interior. They have no interior defense whatsoever. But Brook Lopez continues to just hang out by the 3-point line.
Get him down on the block. This guy has a great post game.
Yeah.
Really good
post
moves.
He's literally standing in the corner like a 3 would, and I just don't understand it. Like, great, you shoot 35% from 3. That's great for a big man. There's nobody that can guard you down low. Nobody.
No, and you'll get 2 of their guys in foul trouble. You'll get better on the rebounding edge. Like you take away a lot of the things that he does well by having him stretch the floor. You're better off if you're not going to have him down low. You're better off just going small with somebody else who's just a little bit quicker than him because they put him in bad spots defensively.
Yeah.
By the way, did you guys see the line? Did you guys see the line for this game?
It was Milwaukee minus 3.5, right?
Milwaukee minus 3.5 for the game. Milwaukee was minus 3.5 in the first half. Yeah. And Milwaukee was minus 2.5 in the first quarter. Very rarely to see that.
Yeah, yes. But everybody knew they were going to come out like this.
They had to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is just go down low and gets blocked by Bruce.
No, he got fouled.
Yeah. See, and then you get Brown and foul. Like they're not deep enough now, especially without Green and without Harden. You go get this is one of the things I've been kind of preaching about the Suns too, because the Suns aren't very deep. But like Ayton's not getting in foul trouble, and when he's not in foul trouble, they're a really good defensive team. It's been crazy to me that between Davis and LeBron and now Jokic that they haven't been able to get Ayton into a situation where he's got a bunch of fouls and you have to go at, they have to use Frank the Tank and Saric. Same sort of thing here. You got to get attack Durant, attack Brown, some of these non-bigs that they're having play as bigs.
It really is astounding to watch. And this is where I put the blame on Budenholzer.
100%.
I don't know how you just allow this 7-footer to do nothing but stand behind the 3-point line, because you hit the nail on the head. If that's the way we're going to play, there are better 3-point shooters on this team than Brook Lopez. I mean, you can find guys who can shoot the 3 better than him.
You can't go small and try to beat Brooklyn. They have 3, and even without Harden, they have 2 of the better players on the court almost at all times. You beat them by going bigger, by beating them up a little bit, making them have to try to rebound and play defense and really, really work hard. I don't like what they've been doing. It's been very, I've been pretty disappointed because that's been the running theme with Budenholzer through the years, that he doesn't make the adjustments. But I kind of felt like last year and maybe other years, he didn't even really have an option to go to. This year, you brought in Drew. Now you have another option. He's still not making any adjustments.
No, he's not. It's astounding. Let's talk for a minute about the other game tonight, the Jazz and the Clippers. I couldn't be on Utah any harder than I am in this game. I'm not a buyer on the Clippers. Utah went 0 for 20 at one point from the floor in game 1. 0 for 20, and they still won that game without Mike Conley, who I know isn't playing tonight again. But Utah's not shooting 0 for 20 at any point during this game again. It's just not happening. And I think it's become very clear that Donovan Mitchell is as good as anybody come playoff time.
Raises his level.
And then you've got this idiot, Paul George, on the other side, who is just, a mental midget. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to put it. He gives himself the nickname Playoff P, and he's been terrible in the playoffs pretty much his entire career. And this Utah crowd is going to let him hear it all night long. They're going to let him hear it. It's in his head.
There's I got to find the stat I got here. Playoff P has he shot absurd last night. I'm going to pull it up. The thing that's the scariest for me with the Clippers is that they are getting awesome contributions from all of their role players. Every one of them. Man, Kennard was 7 for 8 in the last game. He was excellent. Morris had a great game 7 and hit some big shots. He had 7 threes there when you needed him. Everyone they've brought in, Batum has been really good and played great minutes for them. Jackson had that quarter. He saved their season. If it wasn't for Reggie Jackson, they lose game 6. He had, I think, 13 points in the first quarter to keep them in it. All of those guys have been stepping up, and they're still in this spot where they're only 4-4 in 8 games through the playoffs. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm looking at this game, and I completely agree with Blackjack. They went 0 for 20. You had your chance to step on their throat in front of that raucous crowd, and you blew it. You absolutely blew it. And by the way, while we're talking about Donovan Mitchell, does anybody else notice the similarities between Donovan Mitchell and MVP Derrick Rose from Chicago? They're looking like awfully similar players, and it's pretty exciting to watch. I'm starting to fall in love with
that kid. That kid is an absolute star. He dials it up when the playoffs come around. The thing with this Utah team, and I know people sleep on Utah because it's Utah and nobody pays attention to them. They took more threes than anyone in the NBA. They made more threes than anyone in the NBA. They had the top defense in the NBA, and they also committed the fewest fouls in the NBA, which means they're just staying in front of you. They're just making your life hard every time down the floor. And they've got shooters everywhere.
Yep.
There's just nothing to dislike about this team. You talk about Brooklyn, and listen, I'm not counting Milwaukee out of this series. And if it becomes Brooklyn and Philadelphia, that should be a tough series. But if Brooklyn, it's not going to be Atlanta. Let's stop that. All right. It's not going to be Atlanta. Stop it. I'm not going to engage.
It's going to be
Atlanta. I'll kick you out again.
Come on, dude. Why can't I have an opinion that's different from you?
You can have an opinion that's different. You can't have a dumb opinion.
Atlanta is going to win this series.
Okay, he's gone.
So the stat, this is a good one because you are just talking. Paul George, most playoff games shooting 25% or worse with at least 15 field goals. He's got 8 so far. He's third all time. There's only 2 people higher than it, Bob Cousy and Tom Heisen. Like he's higher than Dennis John. 8 times he's gone out there and shot 15 times and shot less than 25%.
So Bob Cousy and Tommy Heinsohn. So we're talking about the worst player in modern NBA history in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And you mentioned Mitchell. He reminds me of a guy who is going to be involved in the management over there now too, a little D Wade-ish, right? Yeah.
You can't lose that kid.
Yeah.
He didn't do it that kid once.
Absolutely.
But either way, I think that if we were to get to a point where this is Brooklyn from the East in the NBA Finals, the team I want to see them up against is Utah. Because number one, Utah defends, and they're going to make life hard on them. They're also, I think, the only team that can legitimately go shot for shot with the Nets.
That can maybe score at the clip they need.
Yes.
I'm not sure if Phoenix could score with them enough.
I don't know.
The Clippers, if the Clippers were playing well and we trusted them, that would be fun. Because the Clippers, if Kawhi and Paul George were playing at their level, but do we trust that? No, we just talked about Paul George just doesn't show up in these games all the time. I think he'd curl up in a ball in a series like that.
Oh, God.
That's what was so scary about the Clippers winning that first round series was great because they came back from 2-0 and then 3-2. And it felt like, oh, this is a big, maybe get through some of our demons, but it was only round 1.
Yep.
You still got to go 3 more rounds against 3 better opponents.
And let's say this. If Luka Doncic doesn't get hurt in that series, I don't know if the Clippers come back and win it.
Yeah, and he just got a little worn down at the end of every game because I think he was banged up. It just was a little too much for him in the fourth quarter of every game.
What a first half performance that dude put together, though, in game 1. What do you have, 30 in the first half? The guy didn't miss. He's hitting ridiculous shot after ridiculous shot. I mean, they need to get him some help, and they need to get him some help desperately because he has Huey, Dewey, and Louie out there playing with him, and I don't want to hear the nonsense about Porzingis. That dude is no good.
I think Porzingis is a nice player. He's not a superstar. He's not.
Yeah, he's not a maxer.
I think we've seen what he is. He's been in the league long enough. He's a nice player. He's a piece. But they need a second star on that team.
Yep.
And listen, Dallas should be able to get it. I mean, Cuban's an attractive owner to play for. Dallas, a nice city. Luka is obviously great. They should be able to figure out a way to do it.
I think they will.
The money too, right?
I don't know. I mean, but who knows?
The tax in Texas is much lower, right? So
There's
make
no
more
state
money.
tax in Texas.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah,
perfect to attract them over.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have. Listen, there are going to be some free agents. Victor Oladipo is available if you want him.
Schroeder might be available now. We'll see if you want him after.
Listen, Gino, you're a Lakers fan, and I mean, tell me I'm not crazy here. Well, I know this team won a title last year. LeBron and AD were healthy, and they got it done in the bubble. But this was a flawed roster. I mean, when you're legitimately selling to me, and I get that the top 2 are probably the best top 2 in the NBA, but when you're legitimately selling me that your third best player on a title team is going to be Dennis Schroeder, I'm saying no.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the Lakers over the last couple of years is they never had a third, but they always had a group of guys that could take turns being their third. Last year in the playoffs, it was KCP. KCP was incredible last year for them. To me, role players, I've kind of found out over the years, they're a lot like bullpens in baseball, relief pitchers. They just are inconsistent year to year, and that's why they're role players. They will have great series, great years, and those same guys the next year. I think when it came down to this Lakers team, the guys that really struggled the most for them, the LeBron, the AD, Schroeder struggled, but you look at KCP, you look at Kuzma, even Caruso, I think they just were tired, man. That bubble, the quick turnaround, they need some time off, get that team healthy. It's hard to win back-to-back in any sport because you go deep into it. And you're right, there are some roster flaws, and when you don't have AD playing at their best and LeBron playing at their best, those flaws are highlighted. Last year, the roster had some flaws too, but you had AD and LeBron covering those things up. Yeah. They didn't have that this year, and that was the case. I think they'll make some moves. I don't think Harrell will be back. Even though I sort of liked him, he'll probably go somewhere else. I don't think Schroeder will be back. They may make a trade for someone like Kuzma, but you got to be careful when guys have helped you and had a good year, and then they have a bad playoff series. You got to weigh.
You do.
You got to wait a little bit, but some were bad. They can't just run it back. They have to make a few changes.
I love how Blackjack brought up the fact that Dennis Schroeder is the third best player on the Lakers. Yeah. What the hell happened to Kyle Kuzma?
Okay, that is a great point. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Gino. 2 years ago, Kyle Kuzma was the holdup in an Anthony Davis trade.
Well,
Kyle Kuzma.
I think the problem with Kuzma was he was so good early that people expected him to be a player that he really was never going to be. Kuzma was a 25th pick. He was a late first round pick. He was not a D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram. He was not a Randall, one of the high lottery picks that the Lakers had. He overachieved. It's kind of funny because Kuzma has become the player that the Lakers always wanted him to be. He's a much better defender. He's a much better rebounder. And he just doesn't take as many bad shots. They needed that version of Kuzma this year. They needed the guy to take some bad shots, to go get off a little bit on the offensive end. I think he got in his head so worried about making the right decision and being a smart basketball player on a winning team that he started to shrink up in the big moments. He started to realize, oh, you know what? Let's make another pass instead of taking this shot. I'm not as huge on the Kuzma slander because I do think he's done what the Lakers wanted him to do. He did. He's a better player. He's someone that you can actually play and not get attacked defensively and not be a liability. But there's something wrong with what they've almost asked him to be too many different guys, I think, and now he doesn't even really remember who he is.
Leo, thoughts?
I mean, he's kind of a disappointment. I do remember when he came into the league, and especially after that rookie year, people were talking Kyle Kuzma, Jason Tatum, how they're very similar, and there was an actual debate as to who would you rather have.
But I hate but the thing is, I hated that conversation. People say it because he's a Laker. He was never supposed to be that guy. Most teams' 25th players don't even play. We don't even know their 25th pick for most teams because they're on the bench. People hate him because they know him more than they should. That's one of the problems about Kuzma because he's a Laker. He dyes the hair. People know who he is. He's got a crazy Twitter following. I think the hatred is more because of what media and other people said he was going to be. If you just look at what he does on the court, he's pretty fine for a $12 million guy. That's what he is now. He was a $2 million guy last year.
Yeah, he was. I'm curious to see what this NBA offseason looks like because I don't think I'm alone in this. I've become more of an NBA fan in the offseason than during the season itself.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy shit goes on every year now. And I don't know. I think the Damian Lillard thing is something that whether it's this year or next, I get he's a loyal guy. I get he's been in Portland and it seems like he wants to be there, but it's just not going to happen, right? I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Not this way.
I don't see a way for that team to significantly retool itself in a way that makes them a contender in the Western Conference. I mean, do you?
No, I don't. You get rid of McCollum. What are you going to get back for him? I think they're more than a piece away too.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, this is a team that's been a perennial playoff team. They've never been close to winning a title. No. They made a conference final and they were not close to beating the Warriors. And they've never been right there and just missed.
No, I think they're closer to having just one piece than being one piece away.
Yep. And it's the time starts clicking, right? It starts ticking. We see it with every superstar and all of them. It happened with Anthony Davis just a few years ago. Lillard has said he wanted to be there, but he's going to want to move. And you better try to go get a couple people and bring them in before he wants to leave. And whatever he wants, the coach is the key, right? Who does he want to coach?
Again, that's the thing is Portland is a tough place to draw free agents. They're not in a great cap situation. I mean, they're not where Milwaukee or Brooklyn is, but they're not in a great spot. I don't know. I mean, he said he wanted Jason Kidd, and Jason Kidd immediately withdrew his name from consideration, which, I don't know what the hell that's about, but
No.
Damian Lillard's one of those guys. He's kind of in a similar boat as the Yanni, where it's like, what does he care about here? Does he care about going down as like one of the most electric players and this and that? Because like if he's in Portland, he's going to go down as one of the most electric players and never win shit. But if he goes to another team, he may be the number 2. He's not going to put up huge numbers. He may win a championship.
Listen, first of all, I think Damian Lillard could put up numbers wherever he is. Okay,
No. He'll put up good numbers.
Because I know a lot of Laker fans are delusional and think that the Lakers can somehow swing a trade for Damian Lillard.
No way.
I don't see
it wouldn't
how
work.
they could.
No.
But if you put Damian Lillard on that team, do you honestly think that LeBron's not deferring to him more often than not? I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
LeBron's
I mean, why wouldn't he? Right? Like LeBron's not a selfish player.
Come off the wing for sure.
Yeah. There's no reason. Like Damian Lillard's going to get his numbers no matter where he goes.
How about Lillard being just like open in the corner for 3 too, right? I mean, just like on some because he's going to age beautifully wherever he goes because the dude can just stand 5 feet behind the 3-point line. If you get him a shot, he'll hit that.
And he's been relatively durable. I mean, he's had injuries here or there, but nothing catastrophic.
Yep.
LeBron's not a selfish player?
No, I don't think
no.
LeBron James is
On the
selfish
court,
player.
the way he plays on the court, he's like the most unselfish star of
You
all.
could argue as a person, maybe, but like on the floor, no, there's no way.
His game, he's like led the league in assists last year.
How can you? Leo's a Celtics fan, so
Yeah, I know.
Tell me how he's a selfish player on the floor.
Just okay. Whatever you guys say. I'm gonna defer to the Laker fan. No problem. You guys don't think
it's not a fan? I mean, I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm a Laker fan. I'm a basketball fan. I'm a basketball bettor. Like LeBron's a star.
LeBron's selfish. LeBron. How many times does LeBron not go back on defense because he's crying like a little baby?
Okay, well picking and choosing spots to
how many times does he quit on his team?
Quit
on a team?
Dude,
I mean, he's come back from huge deficit. Like I think that's one of the things that the people who don't like LeBron, and I didn't understand that until he came to the Lakers. I didn't understand how big that phenomenon was because he gets some criticism that nobody else even remotely gets.
You want to criticize him for quitting, and I assume you're referring to Game 6 against the Celtics when he was with Cleveland.
Yeah, that's one.
How about the years that he has dragged shit rosters to the NBA Finals?
Kobe quit on the Lakers. Kobe quit against the Suns. He had a game where he didn't shoot the ball.
That's right.
He wouldn't shoot. He was being stubborn.
He threw a fucking tantrum in the middle of a playoff game and refused to shoot the ball.
Michael Jordan literally quit. He literally quit.
That's an excellent point.
In the middle of his run.
And I will always maintain that Michael Jordan is, for my money, the greatest basketball player of all time.
And I completely agree.
That is a very valid point. That he literally walked away from his team
right in the middle
to go play baseball for a year.
Yeah. I mean, so I do not think LeBron is perfect. Heck, I think you can find plenty of flaws. I just think it's funny that he gets the crap a lot of other people don't because he's been the face of the NBA. That's fine. But there are plenty of, like Kawhi. He was the greatest player. Where did he go last year? What happened? He was like the anointed best player on the planet, and then he curled up in a ball last year.
Kawhi Leonard is a topic for discussion because, first of all, if LeBron James did what Kawhi Leonard does and took every other game off, the amount of shit that he would get for it would be endless. Endless. Kawhi Leonard plays half a season. Half a season. Okay? And people want to go on, and you're right about this. When the Raptors won that title, everyone and their brother was willing to say, Kawhi Leonard's the best player in the NBA. He's the best player in the NBA. This dude could have gone back to Toronto where he just won a title, could have gone to the Lakers and played with LeBron and AD, chose to go with the Clippers, but before doing so told them, the one thing you got to get me is Paul George.
Yep.
That was the thing you needed? Paul George? I'm sorry. You have to seriously question Kawhi Leonard's judgment.
I mean, I guess
Oklahoma City must have laughed when the Clippers made that phone call. They must have thought it was a joke. You're going to give us what for this dude? Are you sure you don't want the other one?
I mean, I still got plenty of faith in Paul George. I love Paul George.
Let me tell you this, for all the shit that Russell Westbrook gets, and he's another guy that gets an inordinate amount of shit. If the Clippers had Russell Westbrook instead of Paul George, they would not be in this boat.
He sucks. I don't want to hear
out of
nonsense.
your mind.
I don't want to hear nonsense about Russell Westbrook. He's the most overrated player in the history of basketball.
Okay, please.
I think he's kind of
Enough
become.
with the triple. I'll play this game with you all day. That's not nice.
I think he flipped from being sort of overrated to being underrated, you know? And I think he's sort of just rated where he is right now. As a fan, I would always love someone like Westbrook because I never question if he cares.
Playing hard every night.
If he wants to win. You can question some of the decisions that he makes because he gets – this is what happens with people who work so hard and want to go so hard. They want to do it all their own, and sometimes he tries to do too much. But actually, fellas, I got to get going in just a sec because I got another interview coming up. But this was a lot of fun. Let's do another one of these soon. And all weekend long, I'll be posting plays at betterthan.vegas. Good luck to both of you with all your plays.
There we go.
Thanks for being here.
Blackjack, who you got in the hockey game, dude?
Okay, this is a tough one, right? I am on Vegas tonight. It is somewhat reluctant, I'll say that, because wouldn't stun me if Colorado won this game, right? Like, Colorado's a really good team. For them to lose 4 in a row is a lot. But there's a couple of things that led me to Vegas tonight. Number one, they're at home, and Vegas at home is very tough. That is probably the best home ice advantage in the NHL. Second, they seem to have figured out how to contain Nathan MacKinnon. In these 3 games that they've won, Nathan MacKinnon has 0 points. He's a negative plus-minus. So whatever they're doing with him is working. Third, Marc-Andre Fleury is standing on his head. I mean, he's playing the best hockey of his 17-year career right now, which is astounding because Pittsburgh couldn't wait to get rid of him 4 years ago. Vegas was ready to get rid of him this year for Robin Lehner, and he's playing the best he's ever played.
Yep.
But the other thing that I think goes into this is, you know, I know Vegas has only been around for 3 years, but this group has largely been together the entire run. They've been deep in the playoffs every year. They know what a Game 7 means because they've lost a couple of them. You don't want to have to go back to Colorado in a Game 7. You want to end this shit tonight because if they win this tonight, they host Montreal in the semifinal round. Okay? I'm not saying that is a pass because Montreal's won 6 games in a row and 7 in a row, and they look very tough. But I'd rather be getting ready for Game 1 against Montreal at home than Game 7 in Colorado. And I think Vegas knows that. And I think that this is their chance to end this and put this away and start to deal with the Canadiens.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree with you. I kind of like the value betting-wise on Colorado.
I mean, it's hard to argue, right? If you're going to get my whole thing, Leo, was I said in Game 1 of the series, I'm going to bet whatever team is plus money, right? Because these two teams played 8 times in the regular season. They went 4-4, and the goal differential was 18-17. Like they finished the season with the same number of points. They are mirror images of one another. It's hard to turn down the plus money. I just think that Vegas figured something out with Nathan MacKinnon, and it's working.
Yeah, I mean, general betting philosophy for me has always been 50-50 matchup. You take the plus money, it's going to end up working out. But, yeah, I mean, this should be really, really interesting. I've also been saying all year that I think Vegas is slightly overrated, and this Colorado team hasn't gotten the play that they deserve. But, I mean, if you watch Game 5, Colorado dominated that game, and it was a couple stupid mistakes that ended up costing them.
I'll disagree with you. I don't think Vegas is overrated. I think Colorado was slightly overrated because people were coming into when they swept the Blues, people were literally saying things like, is a Colorado Stanley Cup inevitable? Like, are they dude, Vegas is really good. Tampa's really good. Like, there are very, very good teams out there. Colorado is not head and shoulders better than anybody. I think there's a lot of teams at the top of the NHL that could win this. I mean, even the Islanders wouldn't shock me if they won. The only one that would stun me that's left is Montreal. Like, Montreal would be
We've had this conversation about Montreal, but in all seriousness, like, can you imagine if Montreal actually pulls this off?
Listen, and I'm not going to say there's no chance because hockey is one of those sports, probably the only sport, where one guy can carry you in the playoffs, and it's the goalie. If the goalie is just a fucking brick wall, you can't do anything about it, right? I mean, Carey Price is as good a goaltender as there is in the NHL. and he's playing his ass off right now. Now, do I think that Montreal is going to be able to score with Vegas or Colorado? No, I don't. I think they're going to run into a problem there because the North Division this year was really kind of weak. I mean, listen, if we're being totally honest, and I said this multiple times, I have to stop saying it, Montreal didn't belong in these playoffs. They backed into this. They were the 4th spot in the North Division only because Calgary totally shit the bed. Vancouver had their entire team wiped out with COVID for a month. And Ottawa, we knew wasn't going to be any good. So, like, Montreal was head and shoulders the worst playoff team in this field. And Toronto was soft and screwed around with them and let them win. The Winnipeg thing, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it was literally Carey Price. That was it. And exactly what you said. Hockey's the one sport where one guy can literally carry you the entire time. And by the other token, one guy can completely derail your entire season. Hence the Boston Bruins, and that's why the New York Islanders move through.
Listen,
thanks a lot, Kooks.
Tuukka didn't play great. The Islanders, I thought Boston was going to win that series. I thought it was going to be a 6 or 7 game series just because of the way the Islanders are in the playoffs. The Islanders want to turn every game into a rock fight. Like, that's just what they do, and they do it really well. But no, Tuukka Rask didn't do you any favors.
Boston should have won that in 5 games and no more. Every game would have been close because you're right. The Islanders do give you a rock fight every time. The Boston Bruins, with that amount of talent on that roster to get bounced. Tuukka Rask, he's an unrestricted free agent. See you later. I've had enough of you. Enjoy your trip back to Helsinki.
And the next thing is, Leo, there's goaltenders that are available this offseason. I mean,
we don't need them. We have Swayman. Swayman's going to be a monster.
Philip Grubauer is a free agent, and he's playing pretty goddamn well.
Nope. It's all about Jeremy Swayman. My point was Bruce Cassidy deserves to be fired because you know what? As much as I loathe Tuukka Rask, and believe me, I hate Tuukka, he had no business being on that ice. You could see it last night. He was literally on his knees the entire game to the point where the number one man that hates Tuukka felt bad for him last night.
And see, that's where I give Barry Trotz an enormous amount of credit because Trotz has not been afraid to flip-flop these goaltenders, and he's done it at exactly the right moments, right? Like, he's gone with Varlamov and then Sorokin, and he's switched them just at the right times, and there doesn't seem to be a problem. Like, nobody seems to mind it. And it's worked every time he's done it. That team is going to be tough, but ultimately, I don't think they can beat Tampa. Like, Tampa's just too fucking good. They're just too good, man. I mean, that team can defend. Their power play is unbelievable. And Vasilevsky is, we talk about these goaltenders. I mean, if you've got a final 4 teams and 3 of the goalies are Carey Price, Marc-Andre Fleury, and Andrei Vasilevsky, I mean, what the hell do you do there? I mean,
I was actually going to ask you about Vasilevsky because I know that you're a big Islanders fan.
I'm not.
Not an Islanders. I'm a Lightning fan. Vasilevsky, whenever I watch that guy, I feel like he's either pitching a shutout and playing lights out or giving up 4 goals and absolutely sucks. And he's a head case.
I don't think he's a head case. I think that, the way that they defend, because they have defensemen that are so talented. Obviously with Victor Hedman, I think that he can take more chances than he needs to. And you see it less in the playoffs, right? Like, you haven't really seen many of those games where he's given up 4 goals. I think he had 1 against Florida. But other than that, he's been pretty solid. I think that he's able to take more chances than he needs to, and that's why when you look at a guy like Fleury and what Fleury's doing here is just he's just being so hard to beat. Like, the Vegas defense is doing their thing, but Fleury's just standing back there and waiting. And they're just not getting it past him. He's probably the biggest reason I trust them tonight. Like, Marc-Andre Fleury is playing unbelievable hockey.
Yeah, I got a small hunch that Colorado's going to kind of have the Milwaukee Bucks syndrome, where they're going to be ticked off, they're going to be ready to go, they're going to come out.
Yeah,
flying.
But brother, the game to do that, it was Game 5 when you're at home and you can take control of the series back, but they didn't finish it.
I know. Well, my point was, I ended up going with Abs
I think
first
Vegas
period.
Comes out tonight looking to put one on the board quick.
I kind of feel like Vegas is going to be overconfident. I like the Avs in the first period. I just found the Avs first period at plus 110.
See, it's funny
that's
that you
value
think
up
they're
the
going to be
wazoo.
overconfident because I look at Vegas and, I've followed this team very closely since they started. And Vegas, to me, is a team that's been snake bit in the playoffs. Like that first year when they win game one and then lose 4 in a row to the Capitals was the first time they lost 4 in a row all year. Then the next year, they're up 3-1 against San Jose. San Jose forces a game 7. Then you have those incredibly bad penalty calls where San Jose scores like 4 goals in 6 minutes. They lose that. And then last year they get bounced in the playoffs again. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think this team is going to be overconfident. I think this team wants to end this today. Like they know what a game 7 is. It's been bad for them in the past. I think you got to come out and you got to step on Colorado tonight. If you don't, I'll be on the Avalanche in game 7.
Yep, completely agree. Honestly, it's been a really fun series. I kind of hope it goes 7 just for entertainment value. It's been so good.
It's been good NHL playoffs. The playoffs have been very good all the way around.
Minus the stupid Canadians.
It's more than you can say about the NBA playoffs because they've been, fairly boring to date. It's been formful. It's been who you expect to win.
I don't really know about that, dude.
Have we seen a great matchup so far other than Dallas and the Clippers?
Not really, but I feel like all the games have been fairly entertaining. Like that Hawks-Knicks series was entertaining. I know it ended in 5 games.
But I don't know that after game 3 you really thought the Knicks had a chance.
Suns-Lakers was fairly entertaining. Jazz-Grizzlies, 5 games, that was fairly entertaining.
Dude, that was over once Mitchell and Conley came back.
Yeah, but the Grizzlies came out. They gave them a battle for 5 games. I thought it was
double digits.
It was relatively fun to watch, though. There were entertaining games going back and forth.
Listen, I've said this and I'll continue to maintain it. There are no better playoffs in sports than the NHL playoffs.
Oh, there's no question. There's literally nothing better than the NHL.
When you and I are up until 1:30 in the morning watching a triple overtime game against Winnipeg and Edmonton, you don't get that anywhere else. You just don't.
When Leo is up at 1:30 in the morning watching triple overtime, you know it's a legit game.
That's it, man. That's it. All right, let's wrap this up. We've done enough here on Emerald Downs.
There we go.
With the BTV Pot of Gold. Make sure you enter the StableDuel contest on Saturday for Woodbine, $150 for the $10,000 guaranteed pool. So there's a lot of money in there to be made. Leo, you're going to be on Pitches and Pints, 8 a.m. Saturday morning with your comrade, Brian Howard.
That's right. And we have the Euros to talk about, 9 a.m. We got 3 games to break down. Can't wait, baby. Me and B-Hill going at it.
We had a lot going on. Make sure you visit Better Than Vegas. We had a lot going on there, too. And we'll be back next Thursday.
Whoop, whoop.
Later.